Happy Wednesday, everybody. I have been in a peaceful mood this morning. I've been thinking about bringing back Mindfulness Mondays. What do y'all think about that? I've gotten some updates, but today we're going to get into a conversation that I'm really excited about. So on Wisdom Wednesday, we get a chance to talk to people who are on their journey into entrepreneurship, who are ready to quit corporate America for whatever their reasons specifically are. And today we get to talk to someone who's on his journey. He's in the thick of it and he's ready to share his story. So, in just a moment, I'm going to bring my guest onto the stage and we get a chance to have a conversation. But first of all, how y'all doing on this Wisdom Wednesday? What's going on? Hey, Danny. What's up, Linda? What up, Jordan? What up, Mac Mizzo? Come on into the room. So, we're going to have this conversation now. Let's see how to do this. There we go. I do this all the time. There we go. Let's get into the conversation. I invited you, buddy. Let's see. Doop, doop. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're doing well. Hey, hey.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh boy, it's a long day. Long days are good days because then my mind doesn't have to wonder. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. Give me one second, Ari. I want to make sure I don't get disturbed while we are meeting. Put my do not disturb on.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. My grandma always says idle mind is a devil's workshop. I don't know about the devil part, but I do know that when I'm busy, I get a lot done. And then when I'm not busy and I got like one or two things to get done in a day, I'm like, ooh, it just stresses me out just to get those two things done. But if I'm back to back, I'm like a robot, y'all. So so today I'm back to back. And today a part of our conversation is really gonna liven me up a bit. I'm gonna take some of this energy for the rest of the workday. And for you guys, if you are currently in
Awesome.
entrepreneurship or if you're on your lunch break, this is going to be a really good discussion so that Correy can actually lay some wisdom on you, but also share a little bit of his journey. So without further ado, Correy, would you mind taking it away?
Yeah, and please, of course, interject to ask whatever questions. But I guess a little bit about me. My name is Corey. I'm a leadership and development coach. I've been in this arena for about 15 years, but I'm very passionate about developing young people. So youth and young adults has been really my forte. I also am an entrepreneur and a business owner. So I do love that, and that's an arm of what I do as well. And I have a brand that all sparked from a YouTube channel called Real Men Get It Done. So really just kind of advocating for fathers, fatherhood, and promoting that as well. But it all stems like a big umbrella of who Corey is, all stems with like the leadership development mindset. It all stems from there because I wouldn't be where I'm at today without developing and growing that mindset. So that's just a little bit about me and who I am.
Perfect. I think we can get into all of those building blocks of your career, of your personal identity, and of your professional identity. But I'm curious to kind of set the foundation because when we connected, you were telling me about your journey into full-time entrepreneurship. Like one, it's super cool to hear about your growth and to check out a lot of you guys, a lot of your pages and things like that. And Real Men Get It Done. That is amazing, especially in a world where we don't necessarily honor our men as much as we should, in my opinion. And so my question to you is, you've done a lot of impactful work for young people in the university system. When was the moment you decided, okay, I want to take my purpose into a different route? I want to quit my 9 to 5.
It's probably been a journey that's been unfolding for a little over a year. Even when I jumped into entrepreneurship, like for one, for a lot of us who've been entrepreneurs or have been kind of even juggling both worlds, it's always probably been something that's been in us. I'll speak for self. Like I was the kid that would take his Halloween candy and flip it on the bus. I was a kid that would take snacks and flip them on the bus to make money. So I've always had that just desire to kind of be my own boss. But of course, we were in a different generation then, so we didn't have all the technology and all the things at our fingertips like we do to this day. So it wasn't necessarily as easy for me to do so. Coming from humble beginnings, again, I'm a first generation college student, so it just the resources and things weren't there to really fulfill those passions as being younger. But I would say honestly, when I started my YouTube channel, so that goes back almost 3 years and led me up to like a year ago. The pandemic, I think as a whole, I started my YouTube channel a year before the pandemic. That was just a freeing. It was a little bit of therapy for me, and I was able to get monetized from YouTube. which means, you know, you're making money from YouTube, your videos, and all that good stuff. So for me, that's didn't still think about the full-time entrepreneurship, but everything kept building and growing from there. So from the YouTube channel, created a merch line, the Real Men Get Done brand. I created a cleaning company from the YouTube channel, and it was all during the pandemic because it was like it was just opportunities. It was time, like just a lot of time on your hands. So it's like you might as well do something and be productive. So I started grinding out and doing those and growing and developing them. And it honestly wasn't until about a year ago, and I was like, I think I really am on to something. When you start seeing like how your side hustles start growing and doing well, if not as well or better than your 9 to 5, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, but it's fun, it's enjoyable. So probably over a year ago was like I started to really think about it a little bit more seriously. Like I really may be on to something, not only with like the things I love to do that are the business side, but tying in what I currently kind of do in the educational realm to say, like, I really do want to make even more impact. Like, I love the work that I do, just working with youth and young adults, but I was like, it's time to level up and make even a bigger impact in that arena as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
about a year ago, it was like, okay, I think I may be on to something. So let's see where it
Yes,
goes.
and also like the fact that you were able to monetize your podcast, your YouTube channel so fast. How long was it? What was the time period where it went from non-monetized to monetized?
I monetized within a year. I was shy of 1 year. And so when I really jumped into my YouTube initially, it was like I had a goal of like 2 years, 2 years before I monetized. Because if you don't know about the YouTube game, it seems like a lot. It can be very overwhelming. You have to have 1,000 subscribers, and you have to have like over like 4,000 watch hours, which is like
Views, yes. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's a lot. So again, somebody can
Yeah.
watch your video and you can have, I mean, it's actually the watch hours. So the
Watch hours,
views,
right,
you
right,
can
right.
have a video that has 100,000 views, but if people only watched it for 10 seconds and clicked off, that's not going to help you. So the whole goal is obviously keeping people on your channel, making good content where they stay, because those minutes add up to hours. So it was a point when I first started my channel, I was putting out maybe 4 videos a week. To like, you know, slowing down, and to now to this day only putting out maybe 1 video a month. But that's kind of the grind that it was. I had 1 video, and all it takes, like, I have a YouTube coach as well, and before I had her, she would always say like, it just takes 1 video. And right when I jumped and found her, that was so true for me. When you're doing your content, you're finding your niche, you're finding your audience, it just takes 1 video to go viral. So you have to keep in there, you got to keep grinding, you got to keep doing it, and you never know what that video that will resonate with the people that will start to take off. So I actually
Yeah.
had 2 videos that did that. 1 video, I did it. Y'all can check out the YouTube channel. It's a little over like 2 years old now, but I went to Miami before the pandemic and I visited Trick Daddy's restaurant, and people loved it. Like, it was new, people hadn't experienced it, and then we hit the pandemic, so people couldn't go nowhere. So it's like, okay, my video was helping them travel and see Miami and see a different light of it. So that started to take off and blew up. And then I, as a dad, the fatherhood channel, you know, is like fatherhood, family, everything that I do. I have the cleaning part that I didn't have as a business to start. It was just me cleaning at home. And
Yeah.
one of the people that I follow, she caught wind of it and saw that I was a man cleaning. She's like, "Oh, this is dope. I'm gonna share with my following." And she was already at like 100,000, you know, subscribers. So she shared it, and people were like, so I had 2 videos within the span of like a couple of months that really started to take off, and that pushed me to get monetized in right under a year.
Okay, I got you. So I'm thinking about your growth. You said that you put, and this might be more specific to YouTube, but I think a lot of people would be curious to know this information as they're growing their YouTube. And then also, this is a huge pivotal point for you to actually like get the inkling that you might want to leave. So as you are putting out content, one, it sounds like you did four pieces of content a week. And you said you just got to put it out there because you never know what video it might be. So can you talk about the process of like finding one, your voice, and then finding the kind of content that you like? Because those 2 videos that you got picked up, they're completely, or to me, it sounds like they're 2 different like pieces of content, right? One's a
Hmm.
travel piece, and then one is a like a lifestyle piece, if that makes sense. So over time, as you started creating more content, you're putting out 4 videos a week. What's the process of you finding your voice? How do you know what type of content you like to make versus what content the algorithm or other people like?
Well, just like on a lot of these platforms, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, like your audience will eventually tell you what they want. So that's the whole key. And that's why it's so important to put content out, because in the very beginning, you necessarily don't know. Like you are just trying to, I think when we're doing our businesses, and even like something that could be like, it's just like a side hustle, or you're just like, I'm just doing it for, but not knowing it's going to turn into a business. Of course, we do it for ourselves. Like that's so important. Just like I want to do it. Like my mom actually was the one to push me to do a YouTube channel. So she just was like, "You are so awesome. You do stuff. Just put it out there." So my first, as I was figuring things out, I just put everything out there. I cleaned. I did my kids' hair. I worked out. I did travel. So I put it all out there. But as I started to put those videos out during the course of that year, and that's why you have to be diligent with it during the course of the year, then you start looking on the back end of your insights, of your analytics, and your audience is starting to tell you what they gravitate towards. So even though like my the one video helped me go really viral in terms of like, going to the travel and going to Trick Daddy's restaurant, that really wasn't my audience. That was a total different audience from what I started to do after that year passed. So that video is still gaining traction. It's like crazy, like how big it is. But I don't necessarily shoot for those videos. Like honestly, the videos that my audience and the men that I follow really wanted was like beard care, head care, grooming. So as entrepreneurs, the thing that we have to be, especially when it comes to content, you have to be okay and comfortable with doing is, of course, you started for yourself. It's your baby. And so we want it to be what we want it to be, but being okay with pivoting when your audience tells you what they want. And that is what helps you, I think, get monetized faster. That was what helps you, in business to move forward and make more money if you're catering to your audience. So I'm not saying go completely left, but we have to be flexible to step outside of our box and say, oh, my audience really likes this type of content. If it's broke, let's not fix it.
Yeah.
So what I've been able to do in that is that, yeah, like my beard care videos now, like I've been doing it for almost 3 years now. Beard care, hair care videos are the biggest ones that can kind of go really high. People love them, the content. But I can still sprinkle in a cleaning video. I can still sprinkle in a travel video. So I don't have to stick to it. But overall, if I was still doing 4 videos out of I would say if I was doing 4 videos out of a month, 2 of them would probably be, 2 or 3 of them would probably be like beard care, grooming, then I would mix in some other flavor. And that's how you can keep continually grow your audience, expose them to something different, but still give that core bulk of people kind of what they want.
Now I'm thinking about your journey, like of starting your YouTube. A lot of were you afraid or were you skeptical since you're still in your job, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then feeling like, okay, what if somebody searches my videos? Were you ever afraid to start a YouTube and put your actual life out there? And how did you decide what part am I going to share of myself and then what part am I going to keep a secret?
Yeah, I think that's everybody always navigate. All those questions went through my head. Because some people are like, I don't show my kids. Some people are like, I don't want them to know where I live. And I think for me, I just was like, okay, if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to put it out there. Like it really is a level of risk that's involved to just say, I'm going to put myself out there. And I think I thought about it earlier on, even though maybe even subconsciously that like I'm a brand. And I think
Yeah.
I try to push people to think about that early on. Like even if you're doing a side hustle, even if you're doing something that's just a hobby at this point, think of yourself as a brand because you never know where it will go. So
Yeah.
again, for me, I was really serious about it. I had my graphics made and I tried to, learn as much as I could from other people on YouTube and just kind of saw other people's journey being vulnerable and just saw like people like when you're real, like when you can share stuff and share who you are. So to not be afraid of it. So that, I mean, that's what I did.
It
Just did it.
did it. And it also sounds like you prioritize the fact that you are a brand and not that this is a hobby, but you prioritize it as this is something I truly am is important to me. But you said that it's something that's really important that we got to touch on is the risk, right? You said that there is a risk. And I hear as you talk about how big you have to, frame your mindset that that you are a brand. But how did you come to terms with that risk? What were some of the risks that you were facing? And like putting yourself out there on social media, let's not even talk about transitioning right now. Like, what was some of the risks that you were facing that you had to like come to terms with?
I mean, of course, just colleagues or anyone that you don't want to see your life. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be anybody that can take it and spin it. So that was definitely a risk. Um, Thinking about the different comments that could happen because I know some people can go left on these different platforms, and when you open it up, people can post whatever because people are very bold behind the screen, and
You
you're
know,
not.
that's actually one of my biggest things. It's like I feel like being on social media in general is always me practicing emotional intelligence. I'm always like challenging myself not to to respond and not react, right? To not let things go straight to my skin, not to have a response for every single comment, and like not to say anything crazy because sometimes my mind goes back to 20-year-old Arylle with an Instagram. And then I'm thinking, like, listen, this you are the brand. It kind of goes back to what you're saying. So, like,
Yeah,
do you have the issue?
yeah. I mean, I do, and I think just being a professional, I think that may have helped anyway because you almost think about it in any arena that you're in. I mean, I think we have to have that talk with ourselves as being people of color navigating any field for one, and then just being professional in whatever that we do. And I think we get that from being in our 9 to 5s, being in maybe corporate America, being educators, whatever it may be, of saying like, okay, I could either burn this bridge and leave everything up in flames and be like, I'm gonna blow this up when I leave, or I can take the higher road and just have decorum with it, be like, okay, I'm leaving, on to something else. And you kind of think about that even when you transition jobs. It's just like, yeah, I could tell them like, yeah, y'all suck. I hated y'all. You were the worst boss ever. But for the most part, you don't do that. You get your nice letter of resignation. You leave on a good note with positivity because you never know when you may have to reach back out to some of those people that were at that last position, or just the world isn't as big as we think it is when we start being in some of these circles. So you may bump into that person again. They may know somebody that down the line that you're trying to get for a client or for a reference. So it's just good not to burn those bridges. So I just kept that kind of same energy when I got to YouTube, but I still responded. For me, because that's a part of the whole thing, like with your content, like
And knowing what you're thinking,
it's
right?
important to engage. It's important to get replies, to get the likes and everything. So even if somebody came at me really left, I still tried to come back with education to say like, I totally disagree, and this is why. And even if they came very ignorant, like most times they responded back positively. And then sometimes you have those people that want to go back and forth. And it's like I'll give you one reply, maybe two, but after that I'm leaving it alone and I'm not replying anymore. And in some of the content I did put out, of course, when we had the big racial tension for a couple of years with George Floyd and all the police shootings and everything, like that was some content that was really a part of my life. So I reflected on it and I put content out about it. Of course, people weren't happy about it, and some people had very negative or very biased views about it. But again, I wasn't afraid to still respond because a part of me was like, yeah, I could still shoot them with wrath and be like, you're stupid. But like, let me make this a teachable moment. And I'm an educator, so I'm always thinking about teachable moments. So I'm like, let me make this a teachable moment. Will I get through?
Yeah,
Maybe, maybe not. But at least if someone else comes on my page and see my response, they can see and hopefully know my heart, that this is where I'm
yeah,
coming from, even if that person that made the ignorant comment, didn't receive anything from it.
absolutely. Your advice comes from a place where obviously you have that leadership development experience, and then also you having to talk some people off the ledge, I'm sure, so that they can manage their emotions. So a lot of times, like, and I'm thinking about your experience because you are a leadership development coach and you have your own journey to become that. I would love for you to share what that looks like in your 9 to 5 and how you've developed as a professional in that regard. But you're in it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
eventually, I want to get to the point where we can start talking about how we actually apply it because you're talking about a lot of the things that I'm sure you teach others, and now you're in the thick of it. So, how did you develop your career as a leadership coach?
Well, I would say it starts from day one, probably coming straight out of college. And I mean, I could talk about college, but I'll talk about after college because I think one of the positions that really prepared me just for life to be where I'm at today was transitioning out of college and becoming a hall director. So I'm in the realm of education, and one of like the most entry level jobs you can get probably on a campus is like being in admissions or probably working as a hall director in the dorms. And so being a hall director, like you have to learn how to manage and juggle so much in a given school year. I'm talking about budgeting. I'm talking about leading a staff, whether that's undergraduate students, graduate students, or professional students. Maintenance issues. So you're over a whole entire hall or a whole entire apartment complex. So helping with maintenance issues or making those requests, doing programming at the very micro level all the way to the macro level. Like I was first year coming out of college and I was over like a $500,000 budget. That was a range of, you know, how big the university was. That was the programming we had to do on our hall. That's the programming we had to do for the entire campus. So all of that really helped push me to just kind of juggle a lot and learn a lot of different areas of the university and working well with people, because you got to play nice. Any institution that you're in has red tape. It has, you know, cultural things that you have to get through. So having to know all those different facets of campus in terms of everything that I did really helped me to learn how to navigate and play nice and develop in that way. And then on the other side, I would say the biggest thing as a professional is really taking those bumps early on and not letting them break me, you know? And I think for a lot of us, and I won't say a lot of us, I'll speak for myself, but I would say for me as being a person of color at a predominantly white institution, I've been pretty much at those, you know, because if you're not at a predominantly white institution, you're at an HBCU. So going to school and navigating being at a predominantly white institution, there were many a times that I was thrown under the bus by colleagues. And I was almost like a kid in the principal's office, going in my boss's office and having, you know, closed door meetings about what I was doing and my behavior and accountability and stuff like that. So having to learn how to navigate that early on in my career really kind of helped build me and help foster my leadership and development, and help me to be able to, when I have my staffs, when I'm connecting with other professionals, help prepare them and to grow them up to be like, yeah, like it's going to happen. Like you're going to get thrown in the bus. It's going to happen where you have roadblocks. It's going to be things that happen to you as a professional, as you're dealing with maybe all the red tape and all the back end stuff. And then you're still going to have to, on the front end, perform your job, whatever that is, connecting with students or working with faculty or working with staff. So I think I had a very well-rounded experience, you know, those first few years that helped me prepare me for where I'm at today.
Yeah, I think that's actually really extremely important when it comes to like navigating any institution. It sounds like your leadership development experience focuses on navigating those politics, navigating those relationships, understanding how to either go below the radar or go or play to the audience. Those type of things that really help you survive in the corporate space or any institution. And it sounds like that's also one of those issues that you've experienced personally that you don't necessarily like about the space, right? So while you're good at providing that leadership development, you're also, it sounds like that might be one of the biggest issues that makes you want to leave corporate America. Would I be right?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a lot of politics, and it just comes to a point too where you do start understanding your worth and know that you can't maximize your full potential being in a glass house. You know, you're gonna hit that ceiling eventually. And I think in a lot of industries, you know, you can work your way up to being possibly the president. But how many roles are there of being a president? It's only one. It's the same thing in any field, in any area. Like if you're gonna keep working your way up to the top, it's only gonna be one position that's gonna be at the top. And so I find myself kind of at that, and there's wonderful institutions all across the nation and everything, but again, it just feels like a glass ceiling to some sort, because it's like we hit glass ceilings in this profession if you don't have your doctorate. So you can only go as far as you can go. And then you're going to have to be forced to get your doctorate in something if you want to keep hitting the ranks and going up and up. And like I said, I know my value in terms of even the things I've done on the business side. I know my value, you know, being a professional. So it's like I can still crush that glass ceiling and not have to stress about having a doctorate. And again, my story, everything that I've done to help build and I guess train and develop others, it's like, yeah, that's enough to make a lane for me to be okay with transitioning away eventually, you know, from a 9 to 5.
Absolutely. Speaking of your value, can we talk a little bit about the numbers that you're looking at? Because I think that's a big issue. When you've gone so far up, let's say you're right before you got that doctorate, you're making somewhere close to 100 or over 100,000. And so everything's kind of comfortable. It's just not exactly, you're not getting paid your worth. So let's talk about the shift from one, the monetary expectations or the goals that you had as a 9 to 5er, but what type of money have you been able to see as a just in your side hustles, and then what kind of money do you expect to see as a full-time entrepreneur?
Um, I as my side hustles, and without getting okay, in a range, I'll say in the range of my job of where we're at, and this is a low range because in different parts of the country, I would say someone in my position could make anywhere from 50 to 80,000.
Okay.
I almost hit like the low end of that just with my side hustles.
Okay.
So again, even that alone just kind of opened my eyes. Like, even though it's the side hustle, it's like, but it's fun. Like I love, and a lot of people, they have their hand in a couple of different things, but the brand, so the Real Men Get It Done brand, is a part of one of my side hustles. I have Turo, which is a part of my side hustle. So I have a couple of things that are the cleaning business, the part of side hustle. So when you start to see that, I crunched my numbers with just that alone, and I could definitely I was like, I can surpass my income with just the side hustle, let alone, and those are the fun pieces of let alone what I'm really passionate about. And again, just really creating change agents. I'm like, okay, if I can do that with just the side hustles, imagine if I'm able to put 8 hours, 10 hours into developing and not only the youth and young adults, but even a newer revelation that's come to me as of sort is really developing the people that were just like me, almost like what you're doing, Ari. But in my lane,
Absolutely.
but in my lane, the young professionals that are coming into this field who didn't have the mentors, because you can't necessarily have a safe place on the campus that you work at. So the young professionals who didn't have the mentorship, whatever level that they're at, coming into a college as that hall director, as that admissions counselor, to be able to be that mentor or that support for them as they're navigating all of what I've done for the past 15 plus years. So like that just really excites me. It motivates me, and again, I have to step out of this realm eventually because I won't be able to do that or dedicate the time to it if I'm trying to stay in a 9 to 5. Like I can't connect with students and travel around the country and speak and do consulting and all that good stuff and connect with professionals when I need to and all that stuff if I still have a 9 to 5 and I'm trying to do all that after the 9 to 5 is over. Or to do what I'm doing now is taking a lunch and connecting to have a meeting with you. It's just it frees me up to be able to do what I need to do when I need to do it.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned this. This is a hot spot when it comes to making the transition. It's whether you want to wait until your side hustle compares to your actual full-time job or so that it actually covers your expenses, right? And some people just take that leap. So we have a range of risk takers in this room. I know like you guys are like some people need to have that salary be matched, and some people just need to have their debt paid off. So you've already hit a point where most people can live off of 50 or 60 or 90 or 90K. So revenue obviously isn't the only requirement that you have to make your exit. What are some of the things that you told yourself? Okay, if you have these things in place, you'll be comfortable to maintain a level of stability, maintain security. Also to mention, like you have family. So I know stability and security are even at a little bit higher level than even for a single person. So could you explain a little bit of your rationale on like what do you need to make that transition?
No, the finances was a big piece of it. So, like again, my wife is not an entrepreneur. She was a stay-at-home mom for several years. She's just been in her career very early on. So she'll have next year 5 years under her. I've been shaking and moving for 15 years. But it was more cost effective for her to be at home, of course, with the kids and helping raise them. But they're all many adults now, 16, 14, and 12. So for her, it's super scary. Like I gotta be very sensitive of how I talk about it because she's like, leaving your job, like what? And she knows the side hustles and she sees it, but she just is like, it's just how we've been taught, how we've been raised. It's like you get a job, you work it till you retire, and then you still may do something else after you retire. But now I'm just like, no, I gotta like I gotta do it, and I know I'm not gonna fail because luckily I do have other things in the works that can make money for us and not be so stressed about it. But money definitely was a big thing that I thought about. So some of the things that I've been thinking about as of late is okay about the side businesses to help grow them. I have coaches in every arena, so that has really helped catapult me. And I know sometimes people, the monies and things may be tight, but you have to invest in a good coach, some good coaches in different arenas because they've been where you want to go. And the whole thing of what you're paying for is access. Yes, a lot of times we can make things happen. And, we can eventually do it, but having a coach or investing in some of the programs and things are out there are helping give you access so you can expedite that. That's where I was at really for the past year. I'm like, I need some stuff expedited so I can make some moves sooner than later. So the money aspect was definitely one. Having a couple coaches in different arenas. I have my YouTube coach still. I have a business coach that's still, and then I kind of created a group that we're all like in different levels of business and side hustle called the Power CEOs. So we're meeting on Fridays just to throw out new fresh content and free content for people. So kind of having your tribe as well, I would say with that, to be able to just feel motivated and have those people you can talk to. Because all your family, significant others, they won't necessarily understand if they're not trying to go and be an entrepreneur. They just won't get it. So for me, money was a big thing. The coaches, investing in those, finding my tribe to be able to connect and bounce ideas off of. And for me, I am a planner, so it's just making sure everything is taken care of. Insurance, like all my kids and stuff are on my insurance. So as an entrepreneur, you have to think about that. I'm going to eventually leave my job. I won't have insurance to fall back on. So again, for me and for us, we will jump into the marketplace. We'll jump into Obamacare eventually and jump into something like that so that we can make sure that we're good. Because I make sure my kids, teeth cleanings, checkup. I'm the dad that does that and takes them to appointments. So we want to make sure that we're here, that all that is good. Looking at the health.
One second. I'm not sure if it's just me, but if Corey's sound is a little bit choppy, put a thumbs down because it seemed like something just shifted. No, it's still shifted. It might be. So guys, can you hear very clearly or is it just me? Is it just me or are you guys hearing it as well?
I took the AirPods out too.
That's good. That's good.
And I'll keep them off if it.
Okay. And you know what? I think there's something when you use the headphones. I don't hear this this echo, but let's just. Okay, take it away. What were you saying?
Okay, so everybody, can they hear me now? They gave thumbs down. I don't know what they missed in that. I'll go quick.
You should be fine now because the thumbs down that was earlier, so you should be fine now.
Okay, so
what we did here was insurance, and that was one of the last considerations that you needed to have in order to make your exit. It sounds like it also like requires you to be able to one have your own plan, right? But then two, be able to communicate that to your spouse so that she is able to go along with the plan with you.
Yeah,
that's a really big thing when you have a spouse that's going through the exit with you.
It is, and for my wife, I mean, a lot of people have different. They'll say different things about it, like your spouse should be all in the know of what they're doing. For my wife, that would stress her out. That would overcomplicate things to give her every play that I'm running. So the biggest things that I know for her need to be okay is that, okay, is money coming in? Am I making a profit? Is insurance good? Are the kids going to be good? Because she has her own insurance plan. My health plan was just better. So for her job, has her own plan, the kids are fine. So it's like, okay, is healthcare going to be good? Are we making?
Yeah, she wants to just check the boxes, make sure the numbers are good. Like, just make sure I'm at peace, and then she don't need to know no detail.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. So your professional career is shaping up. You're fine. You could stay if you wanted to. You can go if you wanted to. And it's really dope that you're making this decision for your own, because a lot of times people are forced into a space where they don't necessarily have anything going on for themselves. So I feel like the biggest takeaway right now is that you've really created momentum in a whole different stratosphere outside of your 9 to 5, which really should be a first step for those of you guys who are planners. Now, if you just out here leaping, then leap. But I think that momentum, so I talk about stability and security a lot, and you creating this side hustle in an actual like revenue stream of it, like up to $50,000. That's literally momentum that you're building that's going to create stability for you when you decide to take 40 hours away from here and apply it to your main, like now your main hustle. Once you decide where you want to go, that's how you've already created energy in the direction that you want to go in. So I'm really curious about this second chapter. We got to talk about the second chapter, how it's shaping up. What are the core things that you're focusing on right now, and how you're going to utilize that time when you do have your 40 hours back all on your own.
Man, the goal, of course, is still to invest in invest in coaches, invest in programs, grow the side hustles as well. And then as we transition to leadership development, continuing that, man, it's just for me, the possibilities are. I'm so excited to do it. So a couple of things that I've done thus far, and like I said, this is like only in the past year. I invested into my business coach, which has been huge to really help understand about content and putting the content out on the platform. So on IG. Not YouTube just yet, but putting content out on IG to let people know who I am and what I've been actually doing. I've done a couple of challenges already through IG to help kind of put some, that really was more so business, but it's still, to me, it still ties all into leadership and development, as I mentioned. I have a new website that just launched. It's correyhammond.com. So that is where folks can find and connect with me in terms of like all the leadership development things that I've done, whether it's doing workshops or doing consulting or even public speaking, coming to talk to student groups. Because I your story, you can find strength and you can find value in your story. So some of my story of what I mentioned to you through this whole time, a lot of that I can go a lot deeper in, and I have some nuggets to give some of the younger, people about how to navigate even where they're at high school, college, and making sure that they have a better plan for themselves. So launching the website just launched last month. That's huge. And just networking,
You can't hear me because
Oh,
I hit the mute button. So you have this story, and I think that people really need to know this. It's the story you told me about you becoming a speaker, and one, understanding your value as a speaker, and then two, how you leverage those connections, like to figure out how you were going to get into the industry, and then actually how you're actually becoming a speaker. I think it would be great for the people to hear that story.
oh man, I don't know. That may be too much sauce. Oh, I know
Too much stuff. You get too much stuff.
we so much. I don't know what I need to give away. Okay, so say that one more time. Say
So how about this? We kept it. You told me the story of how you found out that you wanted to be a speaker. You had a bit of a developmental process around coming to the idea that you wanted to be a speaker. And then you had a story of how you found like resources to get into that industry. And then once you started seeing the money, the way you told the story was just amazing. So whatever you got for us, we'll take it.
Okay. So without giving away so much sauce,
You got to give up all the sauce. Tell them all the sauce in the chat. All the sauce.
For those who are watching now and watch the replay, make sure you subscribe to me because the sauce will continue to come, as I throw out more content and get and move forward with the journey. But I think the part what I was sharing with Ari was that I bring in speakers. Like I do this, like a part of even my own leadership development and growing and helping my staff and things grow is bringing in different speakers to talk on a variety of topics, not just myself. And so I developed a great relationship with a speaker that I brought in, and him and I, another African-American male, we developed a great rapport. And I really, it sparked then of like the industry of public speaking. I was like, I do this like all the time. Like I never thought of it in that realm. And he was like, man, he was like, how polished you are, how much education you have. And he just, was don't know me. And I was like, man, stop. But he's like, no, really, on the outside looking in, he's like, you definitely could do it. And probably, he's like, and I'll help you and you'll be even further along than I am, because I'll give you the keys. Just like I said, like the whole important investing in coaches, investing in your tribe, finding that tribe. Like that all really was what I was doing, just networking with him. I wasn't trying to just soak him dry for information, but we just were having a conversation. You know, we developed a relationship as he came on campus. And that was where it first sparked. So for one speaking engagement, we brought him on campus and he was only here for a day. I turned it into a 2-day event and we paid him $4,000 for an hour of his time. And because I sparked and created that relationship with him, he raised his prices because he was like, you know, you've poured so much into me and you've pushed me to even grow. I'm raising my prices because I know and see the value of what I bring to the table when I'm going to these different institutions or, you know, high schools and speaking. So we've been able to really grow off of each other. But he was initially the first person that kind of saw it in me as I was just kind of picking his brain and kind of just pushed me to be like, yeah, you can do it. And you have the keys and tools because you've been doing it and you just need to step out into that arena and do it. So again, I just sent my website to him when it launched and he shot me out and connected me with a few other people. But that's what I'm talking about in terms of, you mentioned as well, Ari, that momentum. Like 3 years ago, I had no idea I would be here at this stage. But what I did know 3 years ago was like, I needed to do something. I wanted to do more than what I was doing. And that momentum has really snowballed and it's like really coming down the hill and it's building bigger and bigger. And it's just happened throughout these couple of years. So for people who may just be at whatever stage you're at the very beginning, you're in the middle, I have to implore you, just keep going, keep the momentum going because you will never know where you'll end up at the bottom of the hill. And so that's why I tell people, if I knew early or on that I was a brand, like if I would have conceptualized that like from day one, it's like, man, I would be even further than I am now. I got it sooner probably than most do. But I was like, yeah, I actually am a brand. Like I need to make some things happen. So
That's why the acceleration piece is really
yeah,
important. You knowing that we are all on a journey, and a lot of us we are on a journey to find our purpose, and then some people we stumble on our purpose, right? But when you know when you've already invested in the information and you've seen how that happened, and like, oh, somebody else has got access that I don't quite know yet, then you just know like, hey, the cheat code is just to go ahead and invest and get that acceleration, whether it's invest your money, invest your time, invest in a relationship. All of those three things played out in your relation, in your journey, and that right there, it's automatically going to accelerate the process. We'll get where we're going to go as human beings, but as we invest in other relationships, other connections, like the full spectrum of things, we can accelerate our progress. We can accelerate our growth. We'll never know where we'll be.
yeah. And the one thing I say that has remained the same for me because I know sometimes I do asking like, what is my purpose? You know, that question all the time. People are like, what is my purpose? Or when they start jumping into these different arenas, like, what's my niche? Who's my audience? Some of that, again, you have to continue to figure out, shape and mold and make it happen. But the one thing that I've always known is my purpose from like day one. You know, faith has always played an important role in my life. And I pushed that from my parents, really laying the groundwork of leadership and foundation in me. Like my dad, I just hear it echoing in my ears. Like he would always say, be a leader, not a follower. Be a leader, not a follower. And so them kind of laying the blueprint always kind of helped me know who I was in terms that, you know, not to be doing what everybody else is doing. And in terms of just how my spirit is of just helping others. Like that's at my core of who I am. And so I can easily say to this day, like everything that I've done has still been in that same lane, you know, whatever it is trying to do, even if it's Turo, even if it's me cleaning, like I'm helping others, I'm providing a service, I'm helping change something in someone else's life, even now being on a college campus, working with youth and young adults, eventually becoming a public speaker. So at the core, at my core, sorry about that, at my core, I've always known that. And even though, you know, as I said, things have developed in different areas and I've had to, you know, be in different arenas, whatever. I've kept that as my core and tried to make sure I don't stray too far from that. So I encourage people, when you're thinking or looking about your purpose, it's honestly stuff that you've already been doing. It's who you've already been. And it's just really trying to grow that and let it come out of you. So even if I'm sitting down across from a 19-year-old and they're like, I have no idea what I want to do in college and school, or like, I don't know. The first thing I ask them is just like, what do you enjoy doing? like, what do you like taking a position, a title out of the arena? What do you enjoy doing? And I was sitting across from a student just the other day, and she was like, I love acting. And I'm like, well, why aren't you in theater? Like, and she's trying to find other opportunities outside of school to do theater. But she was like, I really love it. So don't sell yourself short. Like, you have no excuse with all the technology at your fingertips. And I showed her, what's her name? Quinta, what's that woman name? She just created a series, Abbott Elementary, on ABC.
Mm,
It's a brand new show.
I can hear you.
But I remember her name was like Quinta or something like that. I remember her when she was doing vines. Took her own camera, was creating her vines, being funny, being silly, and today she has her own show. She went from doing
Yes.
vines to BuzzFeed to she has her own show. So
Momentum.
I showed my that, and I was like, this is for you. If this is the arena that you love to be at, like, yeah, you can look and see what opportunities maybe to get a little, side role, or to be an extra here. I said, but you have your phone. Like, you can create your own lane. This is what you really want to do. Do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
your education.
That same theme, that same motive, that same insight applies to you, like us. You know what I mean? In our late 20s, our 30s, it still applies to us. There are things that we're doing right now that we might feel like it sucks all together in totality, but your journey actually proves that part of what you're doing right now in your 9 to 5, you're going to still be doing that in entrepreneurship, in your purpose, because your vehicle to your purpose, that might change, but your actual purpose never changes. So right now, for you guys who are listening to Correy's story, if you're doing something right now, don't just discredit the entire experience. What are you doing right now that you enjoy? The same question that he asked his student. What are you enjoying right now? And then even if you don't like something, what is it that you don't like about it? Explore it. Because I think that's part of like you allowing yourself to evolve, as opposed to stopping momentum and then having to start back all over again, if you can avoid it.
Yeah, and just like, I think it's so funny because it really translate well for me being on a college campus all years dealing with students. It's the same thing that I see with adults, like outside of the arena. Students come to school and they look for the degree or the major that's going to make them the most money, or because their parents want them to do it, and they've never sat down and asked themselves, like, what do I enjoy? What am I naturally good at? And so I think sometimes we do the same thing in the entrepreneurship realm and in these arenas that we're in. We're chasing the next dollar. We're starting the tour businesses, the Airbnbs. We're getting property because we're hearing all these coaches say to do it, and we just want to make money. But at the end of the day, what do you enjoy doing? Like what gives you the ultimate joy and the ultimate thrill? And for me, I can still do all those, and it still caters to who I am and what my purpose is, because it's helping people, it's enjoying people, it's providing customer service. So I can still do that. Cleaning, I can still do that with my Turo business. I can still do that with my brand, Real Men Get It Done. Like, it's all helping and supporting others. So that's who I am. If we get down to like who we are, what we enjoy doing, yeah, you can still maybe do some of those different things that are side hustles or side ventures, but at the core, it's going to be pure, and then the money will continue to come. Case in point, with like cleaning, I get the most of my cleaning jobs from referrals. Even with my Turo business, the customer service, the reviews, like that is where you get your business, because people will refer to other people if you do a good job, if you are providing good customer service. So again, it's just the DNA of who I am. I just encourage others, like, think about that question. Who are you? What do you enjoy to do? And let everything else that you're trying to accomplish flow from that.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. I love Wisdom Wednesdays for specifically this. You've done your reflection. You're thinking about what you're doing in your current life. You're also applying that leadership development to your students. And you're going to continue to apply that leadership development to young people and to more people of our peers who actually need you to like speak life into them and keep moving along the journey instead of like shopping just so that they can go search for the purpose. No, you got to keep going, keep that momentum. And like DDL said, DDL, I think I said that right, consistency. We got King Pop WS, reviews equals dollars. I be trying. So before we get up out of here, what were you saying?
Those are some of my people in here. Those are some of my tribe.
What up?
Some of my tribe has jumped in. Some of my mentors have jumped in. The coaches I talked about, some of them have jumped in. They may have popped in and popped back off, but these are all people that I've plugged into that have helped grow me up. And that bro I was talking about, that we've developed that good relationship, he jumped on as well. That has pushed me to think about the motivational speaking and moving forward with that. He jumped on and said, hey, well, so my whole
Shout out.
yeah, they all came through to say what's up. So thank y'all.
The crew is in the building. Thank you guys. Now, Correy, before we get up out of here, you gotta let us know how can we connect with you? What do we have in store? And then how do we keep in contact with you as you continue to grow?
Awesome. Well, you definitely can find me in these IG streets. Arylle, my website, but it's also my handle. So make sure you're following me there. Of course, I have all my links in there that connects to everything. But correyhammond.com is my website. Also, Real Men Get It Done on YouTube. You can go there, connect, like, subscribe. I got so much game, so much sauce for everyone. But again, that is just really a labor of love to really help promote fatherhood and to promote family, and just to be an encouragement. So you can find me on YouTube, you can find me in these Instagram streets, or you can find me on my website at correyhammond.com. But yeah, tell a friend to tell a friend. Connect me. I would love to. You're in a different arena and need somebody to come speak, I would love to come holler at you.
Yes.
Yeah, just shaking and moving and leveling up in 2022.
Say no more. Say no more. Thank you so much for joining us. Y'all, thank y'all so much for joining in, tuning in. Your comments, love the energy. And then if you need anything, do what the man says and reach out to him. He might be even in a space for mentorship right now, just to connect with him. So y'all let's just go ahead and, what were you saying?
Make sure y'all are following hit that little arrow and make sure y'all are all following dope. And she has really created this awesome space for entrepreneurs. So I just want to say thank you again, Arylle. Just the work that you do, just really helping us grow up and letting us see different perspectives from different people's walks of life. So thank you for the work that you do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you for spending your lunch hour with us. We're gonna get out of here.
Awesome.
Peace out.